All right. Cool. Looks like my camera's working essentially, and my audio's working. So again, this is one of the last streams for a while. Probably gonna take a break from streaming once Pentiment is done, but gonna. Wow, it is so loud in my ear. I don't know if I can do anything about that on my end. Um, but yeah, gonna get into this, and we're in the last act, so it's only a few more hours maximum. Today, it's a little nicer outside, so maybe I'll be able to stand sitting in my boiling office for a couple hours. So maybe I'll get 2 hours in. We'll see. It'll depend on the audience too. Might not be super in the mood if it's just me after an hour, but we'll see. Hmm. Agnes get. Oh, I think I read that last time. All right, what is it that I'm doing now? I need to grab the mural plans from the workshop at the house and then head to the rat house. They should be sitting on his. Okay, so I need to go home. I am going to turn the audio down a bit. If that's too quiet for you guys, then I can turn it up again. But let's just explore a little bit. Started playing the recent RoboCop game today. I got it a while ago on the waterfall is always so beautiful. I got it a while ago on PS5 through the PS Plus. I need to figure out what's going on with the camera, but and I'm having a really good time. It's not a terribly complex game, but it definitely feels like one of the early RoboCop films. I've actually never seen anything past RoboCop 2, but from what I understand, that's probably okay because I heard that the later ones are not so great. But the game feels like one of the RoboCop movies, which is cool because RoboCop's awesome. The old salt mines. No one's mined in passing for ages. It's a little rabbit. Oh. I can't believe how quickly the leaves changed this year. It's nice to see some green this time of year. Horehound is one of the few plants that grows here year round. Oh, Voxlav is back. Hello, Magdalene. Hello, Magdalene. Again, don't remember any of the voices I was using. It's nice to see some green this time of year. Horehound is one of the few plants that grows year. Oh, it's the same thing. Really what I should have been doing is taking notes. I do that sometimes when I do that when I'm recording stuff like audiobook stuff. And that's vital there because then you need to have the consistent voices. The old statue of St. Moritz has seen better days. I love watching the violets bloom every year. They match the purple of the mountains. Hi. Good morning, Magdalene. Magdalene. Alright. Really just wants me to go straight to the objective, but that's not how I function. Oh, I finished Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 this morning, finally. It only took me like 200 hours. I think there were like 2 side quests that I didn't complete because I was getting frustrated with them and the payoff didn't seem interesting. But other than that, yeah. And that was definitely worth it. Great game. Hello. Good day, Master Muller. What are you up to today? Drawing? Anything interesting? No, secrets. Oh, I see. I'll leave you to it then. God bless you, Magdalene. Magdalene! Hello, Ulrich. Hello. What are you doing? Watching? Very well. Keep up the good work. Work? Just like Mom. I will work now. Hello, Magdalene. Miller's not around. I mean, it would be the Miller's son from before, because the Miller died. Hey, Magda. Hello, Magdalene. Good morning, Magdalene. Alright, I'll just go home and get this figured out. The Rat House mural sketches. I think this is what my dad wants. I think these are all of the plans. What is this part of the plans? Stop. Huh. This isn't Dad's handwriting. I can actually kind of read this. Thank God he's a printer. Well, whatever. We'll bring it just in case. Alright, I'd better get these over to the Rat House. Oh, if that's where I sleep, what's upstairs? Oh, wait, the Rat House is up there. Whoopsies. I can get back up there, that's no problem. Alright, they're just saying hello. Every child is its own conversation. Hi, Magda. Hello, Christina. What are you doing today? Helping Mom. Ots is right. You're really pretty. Don't tell. It's a secret. I definitely won't. Haha. You're funny, Magda. God, I've got the fan blowing right outside my door and it's still way too hot for my blood in here. Oh, you got anything interesting to say? No. Hey again, Mags. Are you serious? I just told you not to call me that. And what are you all doing out here? Don't you have better things to do? What business is that of yours? Not me. All my work's done, Mags. Oh, excuse me. What do you care? It's not like you got important work to do. Okay, pick a background. So I've got Tinker, Domestics, and Bookkeeping. My last guy was a book guy. Domestics are kind of boring. I like Tinker, I think. Magdalene maintains and tinkers with the present type and sometimes works with Baltus. I keep the press running for my dad and I work with Baltus on his inventions. That seemed a little more important than standing around the commons in the middle of the day. Baltus's inventions are stupid. Doesn't seem like something a girl should be involved in, if you ask me. Right. No one did. Calm down, Mags. You're gonna get a reputation. Too late to worry about that. She already has a reputation. Alright. So Barbs, Magdalene's skilled at stinging, countering, and otherwise deflating people in conversation. Flirt, Magdalene likes to playfully tease and flirt with people. I don't think that's this Magdalene. Haggle, Magdalene is a strong negotiator, whether it comes to finances or other matters of trade. And Snoop, Magdalene is a penchant for sneaking around, eavesdropping, conversation, passing gossip. I'll do Barbs. It's probably one of the least useful ones, but I'll do it. At least I have a reputation. If you died today, your epitaphs would read, 3 shitheads who spent every morning harassing girls in the commons. Assuming you've got a grave, that is. This will be remembered. More likely they'd toss your worthless bodies on a compost heap and hope for a better return. Jesus Christ. Alright, we got it. Lay off. Did you get those things your dad wanted? Yes, that's why I'm on my way to the rat house. Hopefully I can drop these off and start my reading for the day. Reading? What book is so important that you need to get back to it? Alright, so Polyglot. Volksbücher. Familiar with common books of the day. Reformation. I kind of like Volksbücher. Melusine. Esther sent it to me from Prague. Prague, an imperial city of the Holy Roman Empire. The city's mint made it a hub for German and Italian bankers and merchants. Its university became a gathering place for many Reformation thinkers. Is that about the snake woman who takes off all her clothes? Sort of, but no, not really. Or at all. Ooh, does it have any pictures? Right, I want to see. Calm down, I'm not showing you lecherous dogs anything. Don't you read all sorts of books about knights and whatever? Yes, knights, princesses, gods, monsters, that sort of thing. I'm named after a god. I'm aware, Apollo. Yes, your sister too. What's a good story about Apollo? Once he was so obsessed with a girl that she begged the gods to turn her into a tree so he'd stop bothering her. That sounds like you, Apollo. God damn it. Wait, Otz, aren't you supposed to be at the rat house too? You're on the council. Sure, but it's pointless without your dad's plans. Let's go. Fine. I don't understand how we're still arguing about this. These murals should depict the truth, what we know is the truth. I don't think it's so simple, Klaus. Are you afraid of angering our Lord, Father Thomas? I think Father Thomas means that the truth is not so easily agreed upon. I don't know, I'm tired of arguing. I just want it to look nice and show what happened. Magdalene, thank you for bringing these. Maybe illustrations will succeed where talking has failed. I'm done arguing with them. I'll see you at home for supper. It's all right, Magdalene. We don't need to see the drawings. It's not that we don't understand what he's trying to do. I didn't realize we had upset him so much. Sounds like things got worse after I left. Well, we've been arguing about this for almost 2 hours. For all the good it did us, he hasn't budged. What's the point of talking if you can't make any progress? Magdalene, could you speak to your father, help him see things from our point of view? Father Thomas, I don't even know what you're all arguing about. What is your point of view? Klaus has strong, very strong opinions on how the history of Tassing of Kisar Abbey should be portrayed. And those portrayals may upset some of our neighbors. Isn't the real concern that it's going to upset the Lord? Isn't everyone really worried about him coming here someday and seeing the revolt memorialized on the wall? You keep saying that we all disagree with him. I don't think I do. Not entirely. Well, what do you think, Jorg? I know I'm not the smartest man in this room, but I know what happened to my own dad. I know what he did. It doesn't feel right to ignore what happened to him. What happened to Otto. Look, you all knew my dad. I never had the chance. I don't want to make the people in this town angry. I don't want to make our Lord angry. None of us do. But maybe there's a way to tell this story in a way that's true without upsetting anyone. So, it's all very complicated, you see, Magdalene. Try to get him to consider a portrayal of our history that's a little less inflammatory. And to think the council's meant to be the best of Tassing. Magdalene! Such speech is entirely uncalled for. We need to come to an agreement, or call off the mural entirely. He's been wanting to paint this mural for years. You can't tell him no all of a sudden. Then help us, Magdalene. Your father will listen to you. Fine, but only so he can paint it, not on account of your bickering like children. Now I'm going back home. This mess has taken up too much of my day already. Magdalene. Thank you for bringing the drawings to the Rathaus. I'm sorry it was a waste of time. Those men don't know what they want. When I tell them what I'm trying to do, they get scared. Then they talk and talk and talk. They talk all day, and we're never any closer to a decision. I'm sick of it. Sick of the whole thing. Can you just start working on it? If they don't like it, they'll have to figure it out for themselves. I could, but the first payment requires the council's approval. Damn it, I don't even care about the money. Maybe you're right. To hell with them. I didn't realize you were so upset about it. We hear all of these stories about what this place was, how it came to be. And it feels like history is something that happened before, happened to other people. But 18 years ago, we lived through something, you and I. Everyone in Tassing. Everyone wants to forget about it, pretend it didn't happen. You don't. No, I don't. All those years ago, I did nothing. I was worried for you, worried for Benjamin and Rachel and Esther. I was so afraid that I'd lose you. I wouldn't have been able to bear it. In the end, so many people died anyway. Peter and Ulrich and Andreas and all of the others. And we lived. Dad, everyone says that it wouldn't have made any difference. If you and the others had fought, you would have died. I would have died. Maybe I could have stopped him from going to the mill. Or maybe we could have stopped the peasants from burning it down. But we'll never know. You can't change the past, Dad. I know. The least I can do is make sure it's not forgotten. Something happened here. We've a part of it. I need to help people remember that. If I don't do it, who will? You're right, Dad. I wish the men in the rat house saw me the way you do. One way or another, you'll figure it out. I hope so. All the arguing has left me beat. I'm going to bed early. Alright, I'm going to stay up for a bit and write a letter to Esther. Good. Please say hello to her from me. And her parents. I know, Dad. Good night, Magdalene. I love you. I love you too. All this running around has left me tired too. It'll be nice to sit down at my desk and just write for a while. Alright, where to begin? I should write to Esther. Dearest Esther, I hope you and your family are well. Dad sends his regards to your parents, like usual. I've spent the last few days collecting oat galls with Sister Gertrude. I don't suppose you had the chance to do that in Prague. Sister Gertrude has been teaching me how to grind them into a smooth ink. Oh, is this something I have to pay attention to? It's difficult work, but you'll find no better ink anywhere in Bavaria. I'll send along a bottle with this letter. Oh, did I mention? Dad started a new project. He's painting a mural of Tassin's history in our new rat house to memorialize the revolt. The whole thing has me thinking about my own family history, past, present, and future. The printing shop has been in the family for years. I'm looking forward to taking it over. Of course, Dad will be running it until he can't pull the levers anymore, but I'll take over sooner or later. If I inherit the shop, I won't have to get married either. Christ, you would not believe how annoying Otz is. I think last time I played, I kind of led Otz along, but ultimately, was kind of a bitch to him. I'll probably play this game again at some point, but next time I play it, if I remember, I'll probably try to actually be nice to him, which is hard because he is kind of an asshole. I think his mom is under the impression he's been courting me. Can you imagine? And yes, before you break the nib off your pen, I will come visit you in Prague, I promise. I'll try to make time to visit before winter. Life has been bustling here. Dad's been busy with the rat house mural, so I've taken over the workshop. Oops, that's not. I'm sure it will be a sight to behold once it's finished. Write back to me soon. All my love. Magda. It's late. I should get some rest soon. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Oh, go to sleep. magic dreams. Ugh! Dad? Dad! Magdalene! Dad! Hang on, I'm coming. Dad! Magdalene. What happened? Are you all right? You're bleeding. Someone came into the house. They hit me over the head. I'll go get Dr. Stolz. Try not to move, Dad. Magdalene, it's not safe. Whoever attacked me. Excuse me. This wound is too deep for me to take care of on my own. We need Dr. Stolz. Magdalene, be careful. I will. I'll be right back, I promise. Do you know why anyone would want to attack you, Klaus? No. Maybe someone didn't like one of the books I sold them. Are you sure you didn't see a shadow and hit your head on the printing press? Come on, Yarg. You saw the workshop. Somebody was looking for something. A burglar in Tassing? That's preposterous. Well, if it wasn't an attack, what was it? Enough. It was a deliberate blow to the head, unless any of you wish to debate my diagnosis. No, of course not, no. As I thought. Truthfully, Klaus, I'm surprised the blow didn't kill you. You have a strong skull. It's a grave injury. Magdalene, you'll need to take care of your help take care of your father. I will. Whatever I need to do. Good. Of course, the mural will have to be called off now. Klaus, you absolutely cannot get out of bed. No, it has to be done. This is too important. Just give me some time to rest. I'll find a way to make it work. I don't think we need to cancel the entire project. Can't we just wait? Klaus, your head comes first. Anyway, we haven't even been able to agree on what the mural should be. Indeed, it might be best to abandon the entire idea. With respect, Father Thomas, you're not on the council. Yes, I'm just offering an opinion. I can paint the mural. What? Mags, quit joking around. Well, I know you want to help your dad, but aren't you too young for something this big? Excuse me. I'm older than Otts, and he's on the town council, and he doesn't even do anything. Yes, I do. I do plenty for the town. Painting a mural this large and complicated will take lots of skill and expertise. So that's why we were having your dad make it. He's been making art forever. I agree with Paul. Klaus needs home care. You're best suited for that, Magdalene, not a mural. What is that supposed to mean? Well, are you sure you're up for it? Physically, I mean. It's quite demanding. You'd be up on scaffolding and could fall. Are you not listening to me? I've already been doing this work for years. I know what it takes. Dad knows what it takes. Do you? I can do it, Dad. If you don't trust Magdalene to do the mural, to hell with the lot of you. Klaus. If you don't trust her, you don't trust me. I'll never do any work for this council again. All right, I say we let her. It doesn't look like we have much of a choice. Very well. All right, Magdalene, you can do it. But you still need to talk to us about what you're doing, all right? Fine, but I'm taking Dad's ideas into account. Well, we'll figure it out. Thanks, Magdalene. Rest up, Klaus. I'll do my best, Jorg. Magdalene, just a moment. Yes? What is it? I didn't want to say this in front of your father or the others. Your father is lucid right now, but his injury is severe. His current demeanor is misleading. I know the injury is severe, Werner. I saw all the blood. Magdalene, there is damage to his brain. He may have a few weeks, maybe even a few months left, but he's not going to survive. Can we take him to see a surgeon? Okay, it's got some spam bots in here. No, he can't be moved in this condition. In fact, he shouldn't move at all. Even if he could, I don't think the finest Italian surgeons would know how to deal with trauma like this. So, he's just going to die? And there's nothing I can do about it? You can make him comfortable, and you can enjoy the time you have left. I can help with palliative care. But time will run out before long. I'm sorry, Magdalene. I think that also made me cry the first time that happened. Dad needs to be able to see the mural in its finished form. But I don't know how much time he has left. Verna said it could be a few months or... God protect him. I'll pick up where Dad left off. He wanted to paint the history of Tassing from its earliest days to the revolt. I'll start with the earliest part of Tassing's history, the pagan tribes and the Romans. Then I'll go on to the founding of the Abbey and Tassing's saints. After that, I should find a way to represent our recent history, depicting the revolt as important to Dad. People in Tassing might know some of the town's history, but not all of it. Dad said the library in Curacao had those records. He's going to write to the last prioress to see if she had any information. I should write to her now while I'm thinking about it. Alright, where to begin? Dad told me the last prioress at Curacao knew something about the old history of Tassing. He said she became the abbess of a convent in Bologna. Mother Illuminata? Yes, at Santa Margherita. I should write to her. A small town in the Republic of Genoa along the coast of the Ligurian Sea. Mother Illuminata, Abbess of Santa Margherita, formerly Prioress of Curacao Abbey. I'm the daughter of Klaus Drucker, Magdalene. We were printers from Tassing. You are acquainted with my father. He bought many books from the library before that terrible fire consumed the place. I'm writing because my father and I are creating a mural in the Tassing Rat House. I'm going to tell the history of our community, and of Curacao as well. We have only legends and folklore, since of course all of Curacao's books were destroyed in the fire. I was hoping you could tell us something about the early history of the town, when the Romans were here. If you know of anything about the early history of the Abbey itself, we would also be glad to hear of it. We would appreciate any help you could give us, and we hope you are well. My father always spoke highly of you, especially how you cared for the library and its books. God bless you, Magdalene. If I want to finish the mural before Christmas, I should start planning tomorrow. I should head to bed and get as much rest as I can. Okay, go to sleep. Excuse me. Ah, Mistress Dukrin, I have a few letters here addressed to you. Yes, very long nap. Um, this is almost as many proper nouns as Aeon. Yeah, well, but this luckily has, I mean, its own version of your little map you've been making, where like whenever there's a name that comes up, usually you can click on it and it shows you little pictures of who that is. Take care now. Thank you, sir. Mother Illuminata wrote back to me like this. So there it shows Mother Illuminata. Wrote back to me. I hope a response helps me paint the mural. Mistress Druckeren, thank you for your letter. I hope this reply finds you and your father in good health. I remember you both, as your father would carry you between the rows of our library in its final years. I also remember your late mother and brother. God keep their souls. Well, we did have some books that discussed Tassing's past. It's likely they were as mythological as what your neighbors believe. That said, I remember one of the peasants, Tillman Kreutzer, read about the history of the town. I know he died during the revolt, but perhaps his family knew some of what he learned. I should also say that it's not true that all of Kirsau's books were destroyed by the fire. Andreas Mailer managed to save some from the flames. God rest his soul. In the aftermath of that terrible night, cataloging and preserving the surviving books was not at the top of any of our minds. Even so, this topic has stirred a memory within me. Several years before the fire, there was a death at Kirsau, the murder of Baron Rothvogel. He had mentioned something about finding a copy of Historia Tassiae, a comprehensive chronicle of your home. And then this one, because it's not a person that appears in the game, it just has a description you can read when you click on it. There's also like a journal that you can interact with too, and you're not in a dialogue that has like more details, but I never reference that. I pretty much never like reference in-game journals as I'm playing. Same kind of theory that I put into, I don't know, fantasy books. Like, in general, like a fantasy book, I never reference the map while I'm reading it. I assume that if it's important to the story, it'll be able to be explained in the story, and I shouldn't need to worry too much about the map. And I mostly only look back at the map if I'm doing like a reread or if I'm trying to like reference some lore thing or something. But I found out that not everyone works like that. Yeah, the text should stand on its own. Not everyone works like that. So like I had a bunch of people tell me years ago, a fantasy book needs a map at the front. That like that's just like some people reference it a lot, and for a lot of people it's like a, I don't know, it just like is a thing that should be in fantasy books. So like for my novel that I'm trying to get finished by the end of the year, I've been writing it for 10 years and I've never had a working map. And so now I'm trying to get a map together because people are going to expect it. But I had forgotten about it until now because the murder dominated all of our thoughts in the days and weeks that followed. The rice method. What's the rice method? It troubles me now because I recall that the late Father Matthias was also reading a copy of Historia Tassiae shortly before he died. Throw down a bunch of rice and trace it for your landmasses. I've done something like that with dice and like said like, oh, where like D4's land are mountains, where like D6's land are bodies of water and stuff like that. I've done that before. The thing about my novel is that I have like a general idea that I've had for like ever, and so I did. Let me see. Do I have it easily accessible here? Somewhere I had like a map that I drew like a decade ago, and my office is such a mess right now, but it was just basically an outline of the continent, and it had like the locations of like 4 kingdoms labeled, and that's it. But then I've begun work on filling that in, make you a slightly more complicated one. And actually, I'll just bring it up right now because it's just us. If anybody ever finds this on YouTube, they can get a little teaser. Let me. Oh, how do I might have to do some maneuvering. Here we go. I'm in between commissions right now, so most of the art I'm doing is maps. I guess I'm not in between commissions. I have a thing that a tattoo I'm working on. My YouTube channel I think it's called Aspect of Velace. All it has on it right now is these streams I've been doing, and then I was streaming a bunch of when I was playing Elden Ring without commentary back when that came out. I've had ideas throughout the years to eventually revitalize it and use it to do like book reviews or game reviews or like something. And when I eventually get the Lord's Lay done, maybe I'll do that and I'll use it a little bit more for that. Or maybe I kind of have a fantasy about like maybe I'll actually do like an actual play and put that up there because I think an actual play of like Vampire the Requiem could be cool. I think that's my YouTube channel, Aspect of Velace. I don't know if capitals probably don't matter, but that's an old username I used to use on forums and stuff, and I think YouTube is the only one that still remains with that. But Velace I think is actually talked about in this game, and Velace is definitely talked about in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But Velace was an old god in different parts of like Germania and Eastern Europe. And he was, I'm trying to remember, I think he's usually depicted as like a dragon or an old man, but he was the god of shepherds. And because I think he was the god of shepherds, and because he was so down to earth, they made him the god of the underworld. And then also he was the god of warriors because warriors protected their sheep. And then when the Christians came in, they saw, oh, animal association, god of the underworld, violence. This guy's Satan. And then they like use that in propaganda to repaint him as a satanic figure, which is a shame. Oh, here we go. So this is the map. Is it going to open? This is the map I've been working on. Yeah, this is the map I've been working on, trying to fill in. Based on my original sketch. So like right now what I'm doing is I'm filling in all of these little trees, which is it's a fucking pain, but and then like these purple lines here right now are let's make him these purple lines are just like guidelines for where I'm filling in forests. I have some other layers to remind me where other things are going to go, and like one of these layers okay, so like this layer tells me where the kingdoms should roughly fit. This layer labels some various like geographic locations, not very many, I guess. Oh, that's not what I want to get rid of. Yeah. This one labels a bunch of towns that are talked about in a chapter about a war that's happening. So I can place those, and it also has the mountains on it. Here's some more towns and stuff that are important, and then waterways. I'm really hoping that this is the map, that I'm going to be happy with this map when it's done, but when it's done, who knows? I might just redraw it by hand if I'm not thrilled with it. Also, maybe there will be a second edition of the book, and I can just have a better map in it then. But how big is that landmass lake? That is a good question. I have it. I don't have a scale on here, which that would be good for me to put out, but it's I definitely have it talked about. But here, this map actually connects this like northern point here, actually directly connects this southern point here. So those are roughly the same size. So that's about 6 leagues across there. That's okay. So I mean, oh, dang it. So if I set these at about the same size, if I guesstimate there, the landmass is like 160 leagues north to south, which a league is somewhere around 3 miles. So, like 420 miles north to south. I don't know how big Britain is. Let's see, Britain distance just south. 600 miles. So it's a little smaller than Britain, um, if I'm doing my math right. Um, and yeah, so it's a little smaller than Britain. But yeah, this is that map, and then like this map over here. This is up on my Patreon. Although, like many of my political maps I've put up, there are some mistakes I need to fix. Um, but this is like a zoomed in bit of. Let's see. It's a zoomed in bit of a different map. Uh, Wait, here we go. It's in here. The map of Greater Resil. So this is a map of the whole continent south of that other map. And so this map here is just a zoomed in political map of this area here, sort of in the northwest of this map. So I've you've I think yeah you played the Lord's Lay. The Lord's Lay takes place on this map generally, and that is tied to the novel that I am a little bit further away from finishing. Um, Still got a lot done on it, but yeah, I've got way too much written on this setting, and the only published stuff is like the Lady of Salt and Shadows in Book of Guests, and then Brother War in Book of Swords. Um, yeah, I don't know if it was 2 years ago because it was like right before we started playing Aeon, and Aeon has been going for almost a year, I guess. Um, yeah, so about a year, I would say, but maybe a little more. But yeah, I don't think I need the rice method at this point. At this point, I just need to do the. I had a so one of the when we lived next to y'all. Oh, but you also played. Yes, that's true. But you also played with like this group, um, because you guys were from Segdony, which is sort of this portion in the center, and I remember it because you were like a horny princeling, that like you guys had a big party and like just fucked it up and offended these women. Um, or not even a big party. You just like went drinking with them. Um, but yeah, I had so one of the things I've been doing that has honestly slowed down my Patreon a lot. I do not post on my Patreon a lot, and I should. And part of that is because the articles I've been doing about these maps have been slowing me the fuck down because I was doing not really even gazetteers, more like land surveys where I'm writing about like the physical landmarks that demarcate all of the borders in the continent, including like the borders between each of these like little earldoms and stuff here. And that's been slowing me the fuck down. So I decided that I should just move forward and keep making maps because maps are a little bit easier for me, and then catch up on that stuff. But then I had like a fantasy where I was like, oh, I could turn these maps into topological maps, or is that right? Topological, the maps with like the different color shades of green, or topographic maps. And I was like, no, I have other things that I need to do. I don't need to teach myself how to make a topographic map. Um, I can do that later if I need to do that. Um, but I might do that. Um, yeah. Uh, we never accounted for either book's whereabouts. They may have been hidden somewhere in the library and went up with everything else. Perhaps Prior Ferenc took it from the Baron after the murder. Shiny object syndrome. Yeah, it's called ADHD. But yeah, if I want to get anything done, I really need to keep my eye on the ball. So I'm trying to be better about that, especially with that fucking uh, editor asking me to write a naval historical fiction book, and I need to figure out how the hell to do that. And for anybody that was catching up on the streams, last week I said that I would bring my water bottle out, my new water bottle, and I didn't. So now I'm bringing it out. Pretty happy with it. I've been using it a lot. It's been reminding me to drink water, and I got to use honestly a pretty small amount of the stickers I've been saving up, but I'm pretty happy with them. And for anybody just observing it, it's unclear whether I don't know if it's going to show up. I have a sticker on here that says "Drink blood, make art," and another one that says "Slime." So, implying one of those is in the bottle. But nope, it's just water. Oh, Ferenc had an interest in books of all sorts, of course, but it seems like an odd thing to do in the moment. Then again, only God knows what he did and why he did it. Mikolaus Haberly, the Baron's manservant, believed it may have been stolen by the town thief, Martin Bauer. Okay. Gotta do dishes, but still listening. Alright, right on. Yeah, that reminds me, I was gonna do laundry. Luckily, I've reorganized my sleep schedule to be a psychopath schedule, so I wake up at like 9 or 10, and then I go to bed at like 2 a.m., and I just do everything important after the sun goes down. Haven't been great about that the last 2 days because I got sucked into finishing Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I don't regret that because that game is awesome, and the ending is very good, even though it's paced a little weird, and it does a really good job of wrapping up the story that was introduced in the first one. So, 100% awesome. Don't regret it at all. Goodbye. One of the greatest video games ever made. I'm just gonna say that. And the first one's right up there with it. Second one is honestly probably overall a better product, but there are things that I like better about the first one, and I think that they work together excellently, and you get a little bit less out of the second one if you don't play the first one. And if you play the second one first, you get less out of the first one because you will miss the quality of life improvements that were made in the second one. But if you go and you play the first one first, which honestly I don't think has aged that poorly, um, then you can enjoy that one for what it is, and then play the second one and be like, oh, cool, now it's a little bit easier to, I don't know, manage whatever. I can't think off the top of my head of what the specific quality of life improvements are. One of the things is combat is easier in the second one, which could be a plus, could be a minus, depending on how you think about it. It's less complex. They claim that it has higher payoffs for like dedicated players, but I don't know if I buy that. I think it is just less complex. But if he did steal the book, he took its whereabouts to his grave. If any of his family remain in Tassing, perhaps you could ask them. As for the history of the Abbey, I fear that was also lost in the blaze. However, as sacristan, Prior Matthew learned a great deal about the subject. Sacristan, appointed official in a monastery responsible for maintaining the sacristy where vestments and objects used in ceremonies are kept. The sacristan is also often the treasurer. That reminds me, I learned a new word today that I thought was super cool and super useless. I'm trying to remember what it was. Let's see if I have it in my my search history. Just skipping past all the RoboCop Googling and the looking for pictures of Ferengi with human teeth. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've been Googling this morning. uh, oh, and Pigeon English. Oh, here we go. Horripilation. Horripilation is when the hairs on your skin stand up. It's got a word, and it's horripilation. I don't know when I would ever really use that. I found out about it because apparently there's like an Elder Scrolls spin-off game that has like a dumb joke item that has that in its name, and like that's, I guess that's a fine place to use it, but like using it in writing seems pretentious and useless, and using it in everyday conversation seems pretentious and useless. But I have not kept in contact with him, but I know that he is now the Archdeacon of Sion. Once a free imperial city of the Holy Roman Empire, Sion became the capital of Valais, where the canton joined the Swiss Confederacy following the Swabian War in 1499. Oh yeah, Professor Pinkmilk, I translated the names of a bunch of mysteries, and I can send those over to you later tonight for you to look at. Um, so I translated all of the ones that are potentials for holy heathen rituals tied to Dybbuk, which I guess I spelled Dybbuk's name wrong when I said it to you. I think you were actually right. I think it was Dibuk. Um, but so I've got a list of those, and then I was thinking for your spell book, maybe since those aren't spells you necessarily know, having those be actual arcane spells, but having them be like necromancy spells. Partially because that's on theme, and partially because I think the necromancy spells in the game are really interesting because like they don't all deal with. They aren't like what you would normally think of as like necromancy. Like one of the mysteries, actually fittingly for your character, exclusively deals with like contraception. Like it's like three spells tied to contraception and fertility, and that's a necromancy spell, or a necromancy mystery. Um, but yeah, I haven't translated more of that because there's just a shit ton of them, and I'd rather find out what they are and translate those specific ones than translate all of them. Um, but yeah, so yeah, later tonight I'll shoot that over to you, and I'll probably just keep editing that document um, as far as that goes. Um, Also, we'll have to see how next session goes, but I know Alex was a little annoyed about how the um, how Domina or not Domina, Ilana and Maximus were handling the mutiny, but I think it's not going to work out exactly how they think it is, and so I don't think it's as easy of a choice as saying like, "Yep, uh, you're with the like main part of the crew." Um, yeah, I still haven't opened the notes yet, but yeah, I think I'm gonna try to brainstorm a way to introduce you where you're not even part of the crew. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what I come up with and what makes sense. Um, uh, he is no longer a Benedictine, but uses his family name Faucigny Sauts. Faucigny Sauts. I didn't like how they handled Domina's death. Yeah, yeah, that was uh, pretty uh, pretty blunt. Um, I don't. I mean, it obviously depends on what happens in the world, but it's a fantasy game, so I don't know if this is necessarily the last we've seen of Domina. Uh, but uh, we'll see what plays out. That is one thing that like I like a lot of things about the game. Obviously, there's some things that are a little clunky because I still haven't translated a lot of it, and I haven't really been working on that for a few months now. Um, but the character creation is interesting. It's fun, but even if you know how to do it, it is lengthy. She's a chosen prophet. Yeah, it is lengthy, and like with a game that has the potential for just like, oh, you get stabbed in the neck and you instantly die. I think my personal preference is not a game where it takes about an hour if you know what you're doing and have everything in your language to make that character. Like I think that's a little much. Yeah, part of the reason that I bounce off some other games too, and like I guess if that's what you're going in for, then that's fine. Like one of my favorite games that I basically never get to run is Hackmaster, and Hackmaster is all about celebrating how just needlessly complicated a game can be. And so like the couple times I've run it, everybody is aware that that's what's happening. And so like put a ton of time into making the characters, knowing that they could just get shot in the eye by an arrow 30 seconds in. Um, and that works out fine. But that's like everybody knows that going in, and they're going in not necessarily to tell to tell a story. The main interest of the players is to engage with uh, that type of rule set. Um, so yeah, I think that's one of my major complaints with the game, and I realized I need to email the CEO back because he emailed me months ago asking for like my players' reviews, and then like I just didn't really give him anything. But like that's definitely a complaint, and then I don't know. I need to look back at the. I should probably finish translating the skill descriptions, and I feel like I don't like the skill list a whole ton. Like there are a bunch of useful skills on there, but there are also some skills that seem to overlap, and there's some like missing gaps, and I think it is correct sometimes to call on like the character's core attributes or derived attributes, but that feels wrong. Um, so I don't know. I'm interested in how fifth edition does it, but I've been holding off on reading it until the books come. I think they're going over the Atlantic right now, so um, should have them in a matter of weeks, I would think. Mm, yeah. I, I'm trying to sell some books, but I think I'm picking up like a big lot of like game books for super cheap that I'm gonna try to resell on eBay. And it is like a good deal. It's like pretty much guaranteed that I'm gonna make a profit on it. But it feels weird to me. Like I'm not a reseller. That's like not a thing that I do and get excited about. It is an excuse I give myself. When I get something nice, I'm like, oh, I could resell that and it'll be worth money. But I rarely do that. um, if you were to write him soon, your letter may reach him before the snow covers Valais. Valais, a canton in the Swiss Alps. I don't even know what a canton is. Valais became an associate member of the Swiss Confederation in 1529. Valais. No, not Valais. Canton. That's what I was going to look up. Subdivision of a country established for political or administrative purposes. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and also on the you're saying that Domino was a chosen prophet. That's something that I need to. And if anybody else ever watches this, there's I guess this is a fair amount of nonsense, but this is about our weekly game where we're playing Aeon, a Swedish role playing game that I've been translating for a while. Um, but that her being a chosen prophet, I haven't decided yet how much of that is going to come back if Domino's part of the not part of the story because it obviously mattered, but the thread of fate has been severed. So we'll see what happens. But I think I think multiple members of the party have some overconfidences in their own um, abilities and directions that ultimately will have an interesting effect on the end result of the game, um, whenever that happens. Doc does not make mistakes. Uh, yeah, it's been 3 days. Dom's probably waking up right now in the fucking surgery uh, theater or the morgue. Um, Please convey my best wishes to your father. He was a good friend to the Abbey in its better years. Despite the violence that occurred, I hold no ill will towards anyone from Tassing. I pray that you have seen better days since that night, and that God forgives the many errors we make. God bless you all. You just gave me a great idea about Domina. I have to think on it a little more, but I think we might need to have some talks at some point. Um, Maybe it's not a great idea. That's why I need to think on it a little more. So, God bless you as well. Mother Illuminata, Abbess of Santa Margarita. Oh, Esther wrote me as well. My dear Magda, my parents were glad to hear from your father. Please tell him they wish to hear from him soon. Speaking of printing, your ink was well received indeed. I've made several prints with it. They look lovely on the wall. I do really like reading things. I've been trying to finish up an audiobook of Book of Guests, but I stalled out on it months ago. But eventually I'm going to get around to finishing that. I need to get a pop filter and like work on training my voice for doing that, but I'm thinking I might do some like live readings on Instagram or Facebook Live again like I did a couple years ago of some of my upcoming stuff at some point. Not that I get uh, a lot of responses to that, but I like doing it. And like my current novella I've been working on, I am. You can master my audio. I mean, what does mastering the audio involve? Is that just like making sure it sounds nice? Because so what I've been doing is I've been recording. I'm like, I don't know, maybe a third of the way or halfway through Old Master Wood, um, and I've already recorded the Lady of Salt and Shadows, and pretty much yeah. And so I'm going through and I'm like taking out my mouth noises and my pauses, and I don't know. It's a lot of work, but yeah, if you want to help out with that, that would be great. I think my dad said he has a pop filter I could borrow, so I'll have to bug him about that. He did just move though, so he might not know where it is. That would definitely make it easier and save time if I wasn't having to read everything and then revisit and whatever. I mean, obviously, I re-record lines occasionally when I fuck it up, but um, yeah, it's a Frankenstein process right now. Like, there's a fair number of sentences that are made up of bits of three different recordings inside of that sentence. But um, yeah, if you want to help out with that, I would definitely appreciate that. I should. I think Lady of Salt and Shadows came out okay, but I should listen to that again and see what that's like since that one's actually done. Um, but no, that thanks for the offer. That is cool. Yeah, that's exciting. Actually, that might be the push that gets me back into trying to finish that up. But let's see. Um, I've made several prints with it. They look lovely on the wall. Elisha has taken to making his own ink from scraps he found around the house after he saw yours. Um, yeah, and I've been doing it in not Audible, Audacity, because it's free and it's. I mean, I guess I've used other audio programs, but Audacity is what I've been using. Would it be useful to like share Audacity files with you, or share just like the finished MP3s or whatever? Um, Mother was furious when he spent several old pennies trying to find lapis at the market. .wav is best. Is that just a type of sound file? Again, I don't work with sound files that often. I did back when I was in film school, but that was literally more than a decade ago at this point. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can probably save them as .wav from Audacity. That shouldn't be an issue. .wav isn't compressed. Okay. So it's a little bigger. So that probably means it'll be harder. Well, you can probably share it through like Google Drive or something, right? My Google Drive is a mess right now because A, it's not organized and it should be, but B, when when my job at the school ended, I made copies of all of the documents that I'd made there and been using there, and it filled up my drive, and so I had to go through and delete a bunch of stuff. And I still should probably go through and like figure out which of that stuff to keep and delete. And also, if I'm not going to be an art teacher again, I might just not need any of that stuff. But at this point, I don't know what that looks like. Because I mean, I talked to Augsburg about grad school on Monday, and I am feeling pretty great about that, other than paying for it. Um, and I feel like I shouldn't start a position, even if I can find one as a full time art teacher, if I'm just going to have to quit to do grad school. But because I don't know if I'd be able to handle a full time job and grad school at the same time. But I don't know. Um, Also, whether I get a regular job or start grad school, I really need to figure out a way to afford like a tablet. So maybe if I have to take out school loans, there will be space in that for affording one of those. Though I would rather do it without, excuse me, loans if I can. Though again, it seems like the options are pretty limited for MFAs, especially in creative writing. Um, and at this school, they only have one decently sized scholarship, and they have it limited to how many they hand out. Be cool if I got it though. I'm glad you're keeping busy, even though it keeps you from visiting. Father says we'll have room whenever you decide to make him an apprentice. And if you do take over the shop in Tassing, you'll have to make visits to Prague for supplies. Who knows? Maybe you'll meet someone there. I've made a good match, too. Before the expulsion, there was a handsome man at synagogue, Simond, who caught my eye. His father's a merchant, and he's a doctor. He went to the University of Padua. Can you believe it? I'd quite like to marry him, if I can find him again. Anyway, I think you'd have better luck than me. The boys would swoon at a beautiful blonde artist from the Alps. Please keep us abreast of your father's mural. We'll have to come see it when it's finished. I used to get the Alps and what is the Alps and wherever JD Vance is from. I used to get those two places confused. Where the fuck is JD Vance from? It starts with an A too, and it's like mountains. It's not Adirondack. I think it's mountains. Appalachia. I used to get the Alps and Appalachia confused. Blessings, Esther. I'll have to write Esther back tonight. I should head home and check on Dad. Hey, Dad, how are you feeling? Magdalene. Sitting upright is still a struggle, I'm afraid. The dizziness makes my stomach turn, so I'd rather not eat at the moment. Are you sure? I can bring up something light, like milk or broth. No, no, I can't stomach anything just yet. But tell me, where are you off to? I need to get started on the first part of the mural today, the old history. Mother Illuminata didn't know much about Tassing's early history, but she gave me a few places to start. I'm going to ask Black Till if his grandfather told him any stories. Illuminata said he used to read about the Romans. Mother Illuminata, Magdalene. Mother Illuminata, Magdalene. Right, yes, Mother Illuminata. Young Kreutzer has mentioned those tales from time to time, yes. He comes by to borrow books now and then. Usually when he's found some interesting old ruins out in the fields. You might ask him about that. A pity that ill Peter passed. He knew a great deal about Tassing's earliest history. I think his granddaughter Ursula might have learned a thing or two from him. She was always quite keen on those things. It makes Clara nervous. You might talk to Smokey, too. Smokey was the name of my first dog. Somewhere, I have a Polaroid of him. It used to be tucked away into an old leather Bible that belonged to my grandfather. And if I have that Bible, I have no idea where it is. Because a few years ago, when I decided that I wanted to read the Bible for fun, I had to buy one because I just didn't have one. So of course I bought a copy of the King James Bible without any editing or modernization. So it's got all the weird misspelled words and fuck ups. The King James Bible was the one that accidentally had "Thou shalt commit adultery" in it, I think, and I'm guessing I do not have a copy that says that. But that is maybe the funniest typo in history, I think. So old charcoal burner seems to know more about what's in the woods around towns than anyone else. King James Bible is a terrible translation. Oh, interesting. Like, in general, or... I... the reason... I mean, I've done a lot of... writing in recent years, heavily biased. That makes sense. I've done a lot of writing in recent years that, like, relies on Christian doctrine. I Knew Robin Hood has a lot of, like, little jokes or, like, quotes from scripture or, like, things like that. But I have an idea for a duology of horror books that you can read in either order. And one of the characters in one of them would be a priest with some very strange ideas. And my idea was to read the Bible relatively fresh. Like, I haven't read anything from the Bible in a long time, and I definitely never read it cover to cover. And just kind of, like, make my own interpretations as I go along, and maybe try to do some research and, like, point out, like, things that could have been read differently. And, like, one of the things I really want to make a point of is the use of the word shaitan, and how that differs from the use of Lucifer. But that was my main motivation for getting a copy of it. And, like, I think I have it sitting on my to read shelf. It might not even be up there right now. I'm going to read it at some point, but it's pretty low down my list at this point. Because part of that is that I'm trying to finish my big projects I have right now before I start another fucking novel. And I have so many novels that I've got sitting in my head that I'd love to write, but unfortunately I've trapped myself in too many projects. And, like, ignoring my game projects, I've got many short story collections planned out with tons of short story ideas, which that's not a big deal. I love writing short fiction. I think I should always have something like that in the back pocket. But I'm trying to finish Astra's Edda, and I've got a few chapters left on that. I'm trying to finish The Born the Attainder, and The Born the Attainder I still have a fair number of chapters left to go, even though I'm well over 2/3 done, I think. Um, but that's only the first of like 9 books if everything plays out how I've planned it. So that's a mess on its own. And then I started a vampire novel, just kind of as a like, oh, I wonder what a vampire novel written by me would look like. I haven't written on in forever, and I've got like 2 chapters on it, and I don't know if it's something I'm going to finish or not. It would be cool to finish it, but it's not a high priority. But then I've got like that duology of horror books involving time travel in mind, and I have a cycle I'd like to write based on the women in the Legend of Siegfried, and I've got a cycle I'd like to write about Camelot, with each book being from the perspective of a different character observing events that are major to other characters, and kind of de-Christianizing the myth, which is ahistorical because the myth didn't exist before Christian Britain. I think like it's a pretty Christian myth in general. Like this is totally fictitious to de-Christianize it. But I already sort of started that with the Henge Knight, which is in a Book of Swords, and then I've got a book. Now I can't think of the name of it. It's a surname. It's a surname. I've got it written down somewhere. It's like a supporting character that shows up a few times in Astrid's Edda that I was like, oh, I should just write a book about his entire life. And I'd like to do that. I've got that naval book that I've been told I can get published if I can write it. Don't know how to do that. Yeah, I've got a lot floating around up there. And if I ever got around to finishing those, I'm sure A, I'd have more ideas, and B, I could pull up some of my old abandoned ones from when I was a kid, like the science fiction novel I tried to write, Shades of Earth. And then I had an idea about like my fantasy setting I've been writing a science fiction series in that set like hundreds, if not thousands of years in the future, where it's a science fiction series set in a fantasy world. So it's not our future, it's the future of this other plane. And I think that could be interesting, but that's not one that I have a ton of ideas for. And it's not like super prioritized. But I don't know if you can tell, but I like talking, so I do like when I have an audience. And part of the reason that I think story games are a cool thing to stream is that you can kind of just like step aside and do that. Though I guess you could do that with like a shooting game or whatever too, and just like pause it or whatever, or mindlessly blow through. Yeah. Gossip. He's always been kind to me when I chat with him. I'm certain he'll know something about the ruins. You may hear something worth your while, at any rate. I'll go talk to him. What about the ruins or the mines? I can't just use books and stories alone. I want to explore whatever is left over from the Romans and before. Also, on the subject of the King James Bible, I have... Gosh, what is it called? Is that it? I have the book that King James wrote about hunting demons, that I intend to read, which I'm sure it's not going to be as interesting as one could hope, but I am excited to read that. I think that's sitting up there with like the Malleus Maleficarum and a couple other like medieval witch hunting books. Salt mines and Roman ruins are the oldest parts of Tassing, so it only makes sense to see what's left behind. I had a group that I was running a paid D&D game for online, and it fell apart, and I was frustrated and hurt by it as the game master, but it was partially my fault. Two of the players were very new, and they didn't know how to communicate what they wanted, and what they did communicate, I didn't really listen to. And so I ran a game that I was excited to run, that I knew I could make engaging to people that would be interested in that type of game. And fortunately, those two players were not into it. The other player was into it, but he also had time conflicts, so we were only playing 3 hours every time, which is less than I would prefer. And uh, he was like checked out for at least an hour of it because he was so tired from work. But that game, because it was set um, during the 30 Years War in Sweden and like dealt with the witch trials in Würzburg, Germany, I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to buy a bunch of like medieval witch hunting books and I'm going to read those for research to make it like really authentic. And then the game fell apart. And like I told that to him and I was really excited. And I don't think any of them were because I don't think they even knew what those books were. And then it fell apart and I never got around to reading them. But I'll read them eventually, especially since I'd love to write a short story about King James and some witches or something. Um, let's see. Ah, you take after your mother. She was always thorough in her research. You always said that's what good artists do, Dad. Be careful, all right? I know the twins mess around near the salt mine, but I don't want you getting hurt. I don't know why Jorg doesn't keep them it keeps them in line. Always making troubles, those two. Um, at least Artemis actually knows how to read. I don't think Apollo can even spell his name. The boy struggles with his letters, Magdalene. Don't shame him for it. Not everyone is a printer's daughter. Don't forget your other chores while you're running around town, all right? We still have a household to run. Don't worry. I'll get everything done. That's my girl. I'd better get going if I want to do all of that today. I'll see you later, Dad. Good luck, Magdalene. What was I going to say? I had something that came to mind. Nope, I think it's gone now. Yeah, I set up a start playing account to like try running games for money online, and I just have been putting it off. A couple people have been, including Malachi, have been telling me that I should commit more to that or to expanding like my brewery D&D stuff that I was doing. But it does feel kind of bad to charge for it. Um, yeah, I don't know. It pays well if you can get people that want to do it, but also like the smart way to do it is to run stuff that's popular. Um, but I'm not terribly interested in a lot of stuff that's popular. Um, I'm interested in trying new things and doing weird stuff. And I'm interested in telling the stories that I want to tell. Um, which I'm a sucker for advertising, and I hate it about myself. But like, I was advertised a thing yesterday where I was like, "Oh, that's fucking cool." Yeah, yeah. If people are willing to pay me and I have the time, the issue is advertising, and I've already done a lot of the advertising. Like, I set up my whole account. I just need to do a seminar that I haven't done, and then like actually start a game. But that requires me to like devote a night to it and like decide what I want to do. It's something I should do, but I have not gotten around to, especially if I'm not going to get a bigger job because I'm banking on grad school. I should really do that. I have so many things I've committed to, but I'm trying to get better about that. But yeah, I had a thing advertised to me the other day. It was called like Wizardry and Swords Wefts Wayne or something. That's not at all what it was called, but it's some like Japanese TTRPG that has never been translated into English. That's getting translated this year. That's like fantasy, like traditional sword and sorcery fantasy, except there's mechs in it. Um, which I'm not a huge mech guy, but that does sound interesting, at least aesthetically, or aesthetically. But also, I have a game that I have not even run yet that is like a universal game where every time you play it, you can just play in a different setting. And one of the example settings is basically that, where you're all knights in King Arthur's court, except instead of horses, you have giant mechs. I bet Joe and Mitchell would be all over that. Oh, where am I going? I need to talk to this guy that I don't even know who he's related to. Hey, Megs. Got your way with the mural, huh? I didn't expect you to convince the council like that. I didn't expect the town to pick a half-wit like you for the council, so I guess we're all disappointed. Jesus, Megs. I meant it as a compliment. The rest of the council has been arguing over the matter for so long, even I couldn't get a word in. Then you come in and shut them up in a few minutes. We could use more women like you in the town. What do you mean by that, Odds? Well, you know, you're headstrong and willing to give your opinion, and damn what anyone else thinks. Clearly you've forgotten about Agnes. She doesn't suffer fools gladly. That's not what I meant. She's not... Never mind. Forget about it. Forget about it. Anyway, standing up to the council like that was great. I know I'm on the council, but sometimes it doesn't seem like I have any influence. Otts actually seems insecure about his place on the council. He's always poking fun at me too. Maybe I should remind him he's not that important after all. I'm gonna just be a dick to him this time. It'll be fine. I'm only poking back, right? Craft. Okay. Maybe that's a good thing. You'll waste all of your time with Craft and Apollo anyways. Only because the council doesn't let me be involved. Only because the council doesn't let me be involved. Being the youngest one on the council has been harder than I thought. One of my biggest pet peeves is when voice actors or comic book letterers put emphasis on the wrong part of a sentence. And it does not read correctly. When people do it in real life, that bugs me too, but people do it a lot less in real life. It seems to me like people that... The comic book letters are not part of this, but like with voice acting and stuff, people that do acting, and as an actor, as someone with an acting degree, I feel like I can be a dick about this. People who do acting for a living are more likely to be overconfident in their knowledge of the language, even if they're not, and their knowledge of communication. And that drives me nuts, because communication, I love that. I love talking, and I love communicating effectively. Let's see. I know Baltus and Werner don't think I'm capable, and even Paul has warned me about being too rash. My dad died trying to make a difference in this town. All I'm trying to do is carry on his legacy, but it seems like the others won't make room for any change. Oh, I'm starting to think it might have been a scam. But if I ever do get him, I bought a couple cheap hats that I think you, Professor Pink Milk, might get a kick out of if they ever come. If they come, I'll show you. If they don't, then I guess I'll make a judgment about when to tell you about them. You sound like my dad. He always said that the council was scared of doing anything important. Your dad's right. They're all so old and cowardly. I guess they just can't live in peace. I guess they just want to live in peace, but I want something more. I want to make a difference like my dad did. Oh well, better get back to it. See you later, Megs. I said not to call me that. Alright. Kreutzer. Oh, this is the guy I'm looking for. God bless you, Magdalene. God bless you, Till. Do you have a moment? Of course. What do you need? Ott says you've been obsessed with your painting. I'm looking at the early history of Tassing for the first part of the mural. Mother Illuminata said your grandfather read about the history of the town. Ah, fertile field that is. Seemed like old potsherds and Latin trivia were all he ever talked about. All of Granddad's reading came from the Abbey's library, though, and you know what happened there. Poof, poof, up in smoke. So, you don't have any of his old books? Only a few. Granddad tried to buy some when the Abbey fell in hard times, but they were too expensive. But I can show you something better than books. Anything would help. Right. So we don't have any books on the old pagans. But we do have their stuff. Man, I need to figure this camera thing out. Shards of ceramic pots and animals. Bricks from what looked like an old forge. Mountains of salt. Even a little bear carved from amber. Where did you find all this stuff? It's not just me. Carl finds things. Fabian, too. Any farmer would tell you the same. Fabian. It's all out there in the fields, under the dirt. Can't go one season without turning up something. I don't know if it's a fantasy or what it is, but I have this thought occasionally about how much I would love it if I had grown up in, like, Germany or England or something, where, like, even if I never found anything, there was the potential to just accidentally find like an ancient Roman coin or like an old fucking sword hilt or something. That would be so exciting and cool. As a kid, I definitely like thought that was possible here, but that was because I was dumb. Where are you keeping these things? Nowhere. We just toss them into piles with the rest of the rocks and root clumps. It does still happen. There was just a story recently. I forget what it was. I think it might have been. I think it might have been a coin. I don't know. There was some kid recently, like a 5-year-old kid, that found some like fucking national treasure just like digging around in the dirt. I think it was in England. There's also a lot of like interesting laws around that. One of them is tied to the Oakeshott Institute here in St. Paul, which I still need to go to. I've never been there, and I've lived in the area for like ever. Come on, camera. But because of the whole thing with the Oakeshott Institute, there's a law in England where it is illegal to export swords from England. So swords that are in England stay there. And then I'm trying to remember. There's one of like the Nordic or Scandinavian countries. It's either Iceland or Denmark, I want to say. I think it's Iceland, where I don't remember if it's just swords or if it's all like cultural artifacts, but swords for sure that are found there belong to the government. So like if you find a sword and you keep it, that's breaking the law. I don't think current swords. I think like historical swords you can't export. I'd have to look at it. I've never run into a point where I'm trying to like export a sword out of England, but yeah, I think it's historical swords are not legal to export from England. I'm sure there's exceptions, but yeah, basically there was a guy, and he had like. I think it was the largest collection of swords in England at the time. And there was a guy here in St. Paul that was like, my day will come. There's a guy here in St. Paul that was like a big fan of his, and he went to England and he like stalked him. He like followed him around, found out where his house was. And instead of like telling him to fuck off, they became friends. And then when that guy died, the sword collector, he left his whole collection of swords to this guy in St. Paul. And so the guy started shipping them across the Atlantic, to make this Oakeshott Institute that exists in St. Paul. And he got about half of them across before Parliament passed a law to stop the rest of them from leaving because it was such a huge trove of cultural artifacts that were being exported from England. So he was not able to get all of them across. I don't know what happened to the half that had to stay in England, but so there's a huge collection of English swords here in St. Paul that just can't happen again. But yeah, I keep meaning to go to the Oakeshott Institute. I've meant to go there for fucking years, and I've never gone, and it's right here in town. I think they have classes and stuff too, and they have like balls or masks as like fundraisers and stuff, I think. Sure, it's interesting, but we can't do much of anything with the stuff except look at it. Yeah, and like when Lily went, and Lily did foreign study, or that's not what it's called. Whatever. She did like a thing in Ireland as part of her archaeology degree, and she did a bunch of like, she worked on a dig site, and she was talking about how just bizarre it was, where like they just dig up like a piece of like 500-year-old pottery and just be like, okay, yeah, that's garbage, and just like throw it away. Because there's so much of it that comes out, and not all of it is like preserved super well. But like, if you or I just found that in the dirt, we'd be like, holy shit, that's amazing. We have to preserve this. But they just chucked it in a pile and said, yep, that's garbage. We'll keep looking for something good. Egyptian exhibits in London, very ironic. Yeah, it is ironic, because I mean, and it's not just Egypt. Like, they ship shit out of everywhere. Which there's a game on Steam that came out recently that's it's a heist game where you're from a specific African country, and I don't remember if it's a real one or a fake one, but you are breaking into a museum to steal cultural artifacts from your country and reclaim them, and that is the game. Now am I working? Hey, Mitchell, if you were here before, or yes, I did not see your messages, so it's working now. You missed, I don't know, not a lot of the game, but a lot of. Oh, you've been here forever. Oh, cool. So you probably heard us talking shit about you. Uh, I don't know if you saw like the maps showing off those and whatever, but after messages weren't posting, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, after Professor Pink Milk after popped on, there's been an amount of the game that's happened, but not a whole lot, and that's fine, because part of the reason I wanted to start streaming was to have evolving conversations. But let's see. I don't follow. And I guess I could have another read on my stream up so I could see how many people were here, but it doesn't tell me who it is unless they post, or at least I don't know how to see it. What do you think they were like? Huh. I guess I never really thought about it. I gotta go to bed. Okay, yeah. I'll probably reach out to you in the future. Thanks for popping in, Professor Pink Milk. Yeah, I will reach out to you. I might even do some recording tonight now that I've got that bee in my bonnet. Yeah, that. As much as I realize that audiobooks are like a huge way to make books accessible these days, but it is a lot of work to do. Yeah. Yeah. Rest in pieces. Rest in piss. That's a good one. I like that one. Not for Domina specifically. I just in general like R.I.P. standing for rest in piss. They seem like regular people. Their remains all look like ours. Tools and weapons are rougher, but not badly made. Mitchell, have you played the new um, RoboCop game? If not, you should. I got it because it was free on PS5 like a month ago, and then I just started playing it now because I finished Kingdom Come. But it's I don't know what genre it is. It's like a light shooter, light role playing game. Like it has elements of both. It's pretty linear, um, but it like the tone, the writing, the feel of it. It just like feels like RoboCop, and so it's just like a couple dozen hours of RoboCop, which is pretty cool. Makes you feel like a fucking tank. And also they got um, Peter Weller to come back as RoboCop. That's his name, I think. And then they got the new Dominant. They got the yeah. I was talking to Gage about that earlier. But they got a couple of their actors back. But yeah, the new Domina. Um, I need to send a message to Gage tonight because I translated some stuff for him. uh, but oh, I must. There must be a little bit of a delay. Let me see if it's on my end. It's very annoying if it's on my end, but um, oh, let's see. Okay, there's not much of a delay on my end. Um, but yeah, the new Domina. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a problem. I think the bigger problem is going to be the mutiny. We'll see how that plays out. Um, but I think, yeah, I think that's going to be a bigger problem than Cage will be. Oh, let's see. Little carvings and ceramic critters aren't so different from the things Ava made for Otts. Are you like streaming on your phone, or are you having issues on your like your router? Huh. I suppose I expect them to be more strange because they weren't Christians. No doubt they were coarse, but they don't seem especially violent. Not like the church says. Not so different from today, really. Um, Earlier you mentioned something about salt. Did the pagans start the mine? Had to have, I'd say. Most people think it was a Roman project, but I think the Romans just dug out what was already there. I wish OBS had like OBS is obviously connected to Twitch because I can start streaming directly from OBS, but I wish that it had maybe not the chat because I can pop that out, but I wish that it had like other things present here that I could read. Like I wish it would tell me my current stream numbers and whatever, so I didn't have to have the window open to check that stuff in another browser. But whatever. I'm not the king of OBS. That's why tasking was so important to the Romans in the first place. Salt. I'd always wondered why they settled in such a small alpine town. Do you think there's anything left on the pagans down there? I don't know, but anything they left would have to be better preserved than what we dig out of the fields. Magdalene, tell me you aren't thinking of going down there. What if there's stuff that could help with the mural? Magdalene, that mine is hundreds of years old. You could break your neck just getting in there. Orpheus made it back from the underworld, didn't he? I'll be fine. Maybe so, but he mocked the gods and failed in his quest, Magdalene. Don't take him as an example. Imagine how your dad would feel if you got hurt. Uh-oh. I have done nothing to make him like me or help me. He doesn't have to know. You won't tell him, right? I'm not lying to your father, so you can put yourself in harm's way. Now, you're a clever girl, so I don't doubt you'll find your way in if you set your mind to it. But I can't help you, Magdalene. It'd break your father's heart if something happened to you. It's fine. I understand. Good. This has been a big help. Glad to spread some knowledge around. Important for folks to know about their past. You think all this pagan stuff will make it in the mural? I can bring some of the things the boys and I've found over to the rat house tomorrow if that'd help. That'd be great. I'm glad you're taking an interest, Magdalene. I thought no one cared about the pagans but me and Granddad. I should warn you, if you do head into the forest, keep an eye out for the Lord's men. They're strict, worse now than they used to be. I'll be careful. Until tomorrow. Until then. Alright, who the fuck else am I supposed to talk to? Black Till. Smoky Kohler. And Matthew. Write to Matthew. Okay. Martin Bauer or his family might have a book on Tassing's history. Okay. So go talk to them. Go talk to Smokey. And then write to Matthew. That's what we'll do. Hello, Magdalene. Hello, Hans. I hope your dad recovers quickly. He's a good man. Thank you. I'll tell him you said that. Good. This town has seen too many terrible things, but we've recovered before. Maybe the Lord will return your dad to health too. I pray you're right. Be glad you have this time with him, I say. Wish I'd had as much with Heilwig. Anyway, did you need something? Need something? Just wanted to see how you were doing. Well, I was just about to leave. I have to go meet Big Jorg soon. Why? Stuff in the forest needs doing. Like what? To lift logs? To go lift logs? Why would you do that? We lift big logs to see who's stronger. It's a contest. Gotta do stuff in the forest. Gotta go lift logs. How long have you been doing this? A few years. Once I grew into my frame, you know. There aren't many in Tassin who are up to the challenge, other than Big Jorg. Simon's big, like Sepp was, but he's not interested. He's always busy taking care of the farm. Maybe Apollo can join us one day. He's been getting stout the last few years. Alright, who's winning so far? Jorg, but barely. I've been gaining on him. He's grown older and softer with his council work. I see. Keeps a man hardy and vital, Dr. Stoltz says. Balances the humors. You're welcome to join us, Magdalene. Perhaps you haven't noticed, but I'm not very big myself. That's why we've got to get you hefting logs. Don't worry. We'll find you some smaller ones to start with. Maybe to put some meat on those bones. So I can look like you? No, I mean, what's so bad about that? I just meant that the press is heavy and you're still pretty scrawny. I should get back to work now. Until later, Magdalene. Until then. Hey, Magdalene. I heard what happened to your dad. How's he doing? Resting. He suffered a severe blow to the head. I'm worried, to say the least. Hans sends his regards. The Bauer household is praying for a swift recovery. Thank you, and thank Hans and Jutta as well. I will. Klaus has always been such a bedrock to Tassing. I'd hate for him to die. That'd be a... Oh, sorry. It's fine. I fear it as well. It's best not to ignore one's fears. Do you miss your father? Your real one, I mean? Do I miss him? Kind of. I don't remember Joseph all that much. He's become a haze of sorts, a faint echo, a feeling, an occasional emotion. I was so young when he got killed. Mom said I had trouble understanding what happened for a long time. I understand. My mom, she's like an empty hole in my life. I have nothing of her. I never even got to see her, right? Not even a memory. Huh. Or you never even got to see her. Suppose you have yourself for comparison. God molded you after her. I can imagine how she could have been like. Stubborn and unruly, yeah? I'm not stubborn and unruly. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. Anyway, the winter draws closer, so I got a lot of preparations to take care of. I truly hope Klaus recovers soon. God look after you both. Until later, Simon. Oh, let's see. What have you got? Hello, Magdalene. How's the mural coming? I hear you browbeat the council into letting you do it yourself. I don't care about the council. I only want to finish the mural for my dad. You're a dutiful girl, Magdalene. No one can fault you for that. But you painting the rat house? I can't imagine that would happen when I was a girl. Only those old Benedictine sisters ever did much art. Do you think they were happy without anyone around to need things from them? What a life. Except for the prayers, of course. Listening to Father Thomas on Sundays is enough for me. Anyway, it's good to see you standing up to the council. That Zimmerman boy seems to have a good head on his shoulders, though. Once you're settled down with him, you'll have a good life ahead of you. Otts? I'm not going to marry him. Are you sure that there are better prospects for you in this town? Don't tell me you'd prefer the Gertner boy. I don't plan on having anyone. Well, the poor Clares are right up the hill. That's your answer. An order of contemplative nuns founded by Saints Clare and Francis of Assisi. As the name suggests, the poor Clares are devoted to extreme poverty. They subsist purely on the donations of alms. Can't say I ever saw you as a spiritual type, though, Magdalene. I could join a guild instead. I don't need a husband for that. I wouldn't know anything about that. You want to talk spinning? You come to me. I have no use for the world beyond Tassing, but I wish you luck in it. Thanks, Hetty. I'll see you later. Until then. Oh, boy. Oh, wait. No, I want to find... Oh, this is the Bower. This is where I want to be. Oh, wait. Okay. It's been about 2 hours. Let's see the last time it was saved. 6 seconds? Alright. I think I'm going to call it there. If anyone's still here, thanks for popping in. I had a good time this time. I like getting off topic. I still plan on stopping my regular-ish streams after Pentiment is done, so a couple more weeks. Um, I might pop on here and there again, and maybe when my life reorganizes itself and resettles, I might find a new space for streaming in it. But yeah, having a good time. Got some interesting conversations in about other things. Hope you guys have a good night.